to Cellular Healing TV, episode 96. I'm Meredith, and I have Dr. Pompa here, and we have a very special guest with us today. We have Jordan Rubin joining the show. And before I officially introduce him, I know you guys have heard a lot about him. We've talked a lot about his products on the show, but I'm just going to read a little bit about him, read his bio, and then we'll jump in, and Jordan will be able to share his story with us. So Jordan Rubin, one of America's most recognized and respected natural health experts, is the New York Times best-selling author of The Maker's Diet and 24 additional titles, including his latest work, Planet Heal Thyself. An international motivational speaker and host of the weekly television show Living Beyond Organic that reaches over 30 million households worldwide, Jordan has lectured on natural health in 5 continents and 46 states. Jordan is the founder of Garden of Life, a leading whole food nutrition supplement company, and Beyond Organic, a vertically integrated organic food and beverage company. And I have the Amasi and the Suero Gold right here, we talked a lot about.
We love those products.
Love that stuff. In 2015, so this year, Jordan launched Get Real Nutrition, a certified organic, non-GMO, real food nutrition company utilizing cutting-edge fermentation technology produced in an indoor nutrient farm located on central California's coast, and Heal the Planet Farm, a regenerative permaculture retreat located in Missouri's Ozark Mountains, which is within the Beyond Organic Ranch. Jordan currently resides in Central California with his wife, Nikki, and their children. So welcome, Jordan, to Cellular Healing TV.
Good to be here. Thank you for having me.
Oh, so excited to have you. I know you've known Dr. Pompa for a long time. You guys are great friends, so it's such a blessing to actually have you on the show now.
This is really my first officially broadcasted Google Hangout. I've tried this before, and I just hung out with the people that were presenting, which was also good. But this is even better to be in the homes or cars or ears of listeners. So very exciting.
Well, Jordan, we've actually been trying to get you on the show for quite some time, but honestly, you've been working on these new products for the last 2 years, and you have been very busy. The timing is absolutely perfect. As we just launched these products, we have both been, just waiting for this moment, where we have, I guess it's been almost a year now that, or I guess maybe more, that you flew me out there, and I saw that process, and I've been coming out of my chair waiting to bring this to my clients and those that watch Cellular Healing TV for since that time. And here we are, Jordan. So timing is perfect. But you know what? I bet, Meredith, we have people that might not know Jordan's story. So Jordan, I think just starting at the top. I mean, Garden of Life. I think that if people walked into Whole Foods, they would see Garden of Life products. Some people probably don't know that you actually sold that company and originated those products some years ago, but kind of tell us your story, bring us along, because you, like me, got very, very sick, and that's really where Garden of Life came from in this whole process. So give us a brief story.
Absolutely. Well, I was a teenager of 19 years and grew up in a hippie health nut household. So Dr. Pompa, my father went to the same chiropractic school as you do, after going to another chiropractic school, after going to naturopathic school, and so I was born with a silver sprout in my mouth, as I like to say. So I was a health food nut kid in the 70s and 80s, and man, I paid dearly for it. And I can tell you, today, eating healthy, organic is cool. Our kids have it made in the shade, but when I was younger, I was ostracized, made fun of. All my friends said that I had nothing good to eat at my house. The food was awful, and I rebelled. So while we had a household that was fairly healthy, I wasn't immunized as a child. We didn't go to certainly excessive uses of medication. I was probably on antibiotics 3 times in my life. So I was different than most, but for whatever reason, call it inherited weaknesses, genetics with a little bit of epigenetics, I started to develop serious digestive symptoms, which ultimately culminated in Crohn's disease, Crohn's colitis to be exact. I had 18 other illnesses, from rheumatoid arthritis to symptoms of chronic fatigue, parasitic, bacterial, viral, and fungal infections, you name it. And ultimately, suffered from wasting disease that saw me go from 185 pounds at 6 feet tall to 104 pounds in a wheelchair. And Dr. Dan, as you did, I tried everything.
Yeah.
7 different doctors, lawyers, Indian chiefs, diets, up the yin-yang. I went from macrobiotic to vegan to all fat. Nothing helped me until 2 years after my illness, when I was literally hanging on for dear life. I met a man who told me that if I eat a diet based on the Bible and history, I can be well. And I followed for 40 days a health plan that restored my life. It was real foods, fermented foods, a combination of animal foods high in good fats and plant foods, and a powerful probiotic substance that, despite trying 30 different brands of probiotics with no results, this one made a difference. And so I was learning how to transform my own life in 1996 and 97, and accidentally launched a company called Garden of Life in order to share the message of health and hope. I wrote my first book called Patient Heal Thyself, which you read, and we have a connection there, and the rest is history. Meredith read my bio. I've been kind of busy the last 20 or so years. I love what I do, but more than anything, I've seen the deficiencies. Dr. Pompa, I got to go to your last seminar. I love what you teach. We're so in step on what we do. I think we spur each other on, but bottom line, my goal more than anything is to give people hope that tomorrow can be better than today. So let's try to do some of that over the next few minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, it's funny, you know, from the Garden of Life, you know, beyond organic products, I promise you, many of our people watching this, our followers, have been touched by those products. You know, she held up the Amasi and, you know, those products. You know, I have, there they are, yeah, the Amasi and the Swear Gold, and, you know, other beyond organic products, even the cheese, which offer really amazing, unique bacteria. And we fasted so many people on the whey water, you know, which was inspired by you, and we love that and appreciate that. You know, it's like I have to laugh because, you know, I know you very well. We're good friends, but you know, Jordan doesn't even like to get his hands dirty. You know, and yet he moved to a farm of beyond organic, almost 9,000 acres, raising these special cow, you know, that really are genetically different than the majority of cows and where dairy comes from in the United States, grass-fed, beyond organic, hence the name. And I've been to that ranch, I think, 4 times and just loved it every time and had some amazing experiences there. But, you know, moved to the ranch. Jordan, I mean, even the inspiration of these new products really has come, you know, I think out of, you know, being on the ranch, from the city, you know, to the cowboy, if you will.
Absolutely.
The guy who didn't want to get his hands dirty to digging in the soil and loving it. So tell a little bit about that soil. That soil.
I dug in a lot more than soil. I wish that was all that I would dig into. But actually, Dr. Dan, you were just in my hometown of South Florida, and so I was a kid of the suburbs. And here I was running Garden of Life. I was traveling around the world, writing books about food, health, eating the best things I could order from mail order, and sometimes go to the health food store and these back alley co-ops, if you will, to get my raw milk. And I developed an extreme passion that one day I wanted to be a farmer. And that day happened at the end of 2009. I had a life-changing experience involving cancer, which we'll have to talk about in another program. So make a note, listeners. We're going to do a To Hell with Cancer program. Let's throw that down. I think that'll be a good one too. That is something that was amazing that happened in my life, and God just worked a miracle.
By the way, a lot of people don't know that story. They know your they know your Crohn's story, and you know you told that story, but very few people know, you know, the cancer. And my gosh, that is, Meredith, write down that as a show, because folks will not believe this story that really defies it defies everything. You know, it's God, and God's behind it, which always leads us to the next product. Here we are. So anyways, go ahead. I had to add that.
I decided that I wanted to be a farmer. So I bought a farm. I didn't buy the farm. I bought a farm, and I began to learn truly, for the first time in my life, after 15 years in this industry and natural health, all the study, hundreds and hundreds of books, thousands of articles, I began to learn the steps necessary to regain our health and life back. So for a year and a half or so, about 2 years, I operated this vision to create the world's healthiest foods and beverages vertically integrated and bring all the good stuff back. And we did it remotely. I was in Florida, the farm, southern Missouri. Then I felt God call me to move there, and I did. And so for about a year and a half, and I thought this was forever, I learned every day what it was like to produce food. And I can tell you both, I complain just like anyone when organic raspberries are $5.99 for a pint, right? I complain. But I will never complain again after trying to grow raspberries, because I can tell you we have a very blessed existence where we can go to a store and buy something organically and eat it, as opposed to the back-breaking, thumb-bleeding, and crop issues, pests. Organic farmers are awesome. And unfortunately, there's less and less of them every year. In America, we're losing ground to big ag and big pharma and big food. Anyway, that's also for another discussion. So I went into farming, and not only did we create foods from the ground up, but we offered amazing tools and resources, as you mentioned, such as the first cultured whey beverage in the history of America commercially available. How cool is that? Thousands of years of history, the first one in America. We introduced this amazing Kenya Maasai tribe-inspired building beverage called Amasi, obviously cheese, so many other great products. They're beyond organic. Yep. And that was really an amazing time, and products continue to make a difference. From Missouri, I had an opportunity to come to Central California to work on research and development of a new concept that could transform organic botanicals in a way like never before. I came for 3 days to run some tests, came back for 3 weeks, brought my family for 3 months, and I'm here a year and I haven't left. So this latest endeavor is designed to take nutritional supplementation to the next level. So Garden of Life, amazing. I was able to start that company. That company was acquired, started Beyond Organic. Those products are wonderful, still in existence today, of course. And Get Real Nutrition is really the next iteration of nutritional supplements, nearly 20 years in the making. And I believe they're the first of their kind. And I think, as you can see, Dr. Pompa, with your own protocols, they're a great enhancement to anything you're doing, or they can provide a foundational program for someone who's newly initiated to nutrition and is looking for organic, non-GMO, real food, sprouted, fermented, plant-based, gluten-free, eco-regenerative at all. So it's a really unique product line based on a process here in Central California.
Yeah, you know, I mean, and I hope in this show we can even bring out just how amazing these products are. You know, when I went out there, whenever that was, my gosh, I mean, it was just, you know, there you were doing something that I realized was never, ever done before, ever. I mean, I was stunned. I mean, gosh, Meredith, we should put up a picture of me, you know, eating these new concoctions and these plants that have grown for the first time. And I hope we can, you know, really just get people to understand just how amazing this is and what a breakthrough it was. I walked away that day, and I said, man, God has truly given this man, you know, visions into health that are needed at the right times, you know. And I know it was an inspired process that God gave you from God. I mean, that God gave you that, you know, people really need. And I hope we can capture that. And now, look, the only thing that I understood at that time when you were explaining this process to me, you said, look, in nature, sometimes these mushrooms can grow on different things in nature and extract these things that we as humans could never even extract or utilize. And it makes, I don't want to say a mushroom, but a different plant that contains things that we would never be able to duplicate it, you know, anywhere. And there's mushrooms that grow on birch trees, as an example, and it extracts certain things from the birch tree. And these new plants that grow really contain things that are used today in cancer research. And there's this, it's a new biology, if you will. So you were taking mushrooms instead of growing them on birch trees, but growing them on things that we know already have, major nutrition value, things that we probably don't even realize, but things like curcumin, milk thistle, amazing herbs that we already know have, healing value in the body, and growing these new plants. And here I'm looking at these plants with crazy colors and different things, and these have never been grown before. And, I immediately wanted to jump in and eat them. I think I did that day. But, with the best of your ability, describe this process so they can at least have an idea of like how special these products really are. And then we'll talk more specifically about the products.
Absolutely. So we created 3 unique fermentation processes. You and I are both fermentation geeks. And I want everyone to understand that the amazing yogurt or kefir or amasi, the fantastic sauerkraut or miso or natto or pickled ginger or pickled cucumbers, kombucha, these are all fermented foods, and they have one thing in common. Now, this is something I learned, Dr. Dan and Meredith. I thought I knew about fermentation. How many I thought I knews have we had over the years? I thought I knew this, I thought I knew that. I consumed as many fermented foods as anyone, made them, promoted them, you name it. But what I realized is that fermented foods contain beneficial organisms, but what's more important is the food substrate that they have modified. So I've often said, probiotics are great, but I'd rather throw away the probiotic and keep the fermented food if I had a choice, because the food is what provides the body with easily digestible nutrients, beneficial compounds, and helps to create an environment in the body for health and homeostasis. But all of those fermented foods I mentioned, the yogurts, the kefirs, the sauerkrauts, the kimchis, the kombuchas, they have one thing in common. They are fermented with single-celled organisms. So let's talk about biology. You have one cell, you're primitive. You have trillions of cells, you're a human, and sometimes primitive still. But theoretically, the more cells you have, the smarter you are, right? I know some of us think, hey, you're missing a few cells. But what I realized was taking a single-celled organism and fermenting cabbage to make it sauerkraut is awesome. But visually, what does it look like? Wilted cabbage. We, for years, fermented green foods and berries and whatever, and all it looked like was mushy or wilted berries and green foods. I had a vision in my mind of mushrooms or fungi as creating massive, different, almost, as you mentioned, plants, but different substances out of something that existed. So if you grow chaga on a birch tree, or if you find it, you see a tree and then you see this massive fungal protrusion. They were creating dramatic visual change based on what you see. You see the bare dirt, and later you see this big mushroom cap. So I realized there was something different about reishi, shiitake, maitake, lion's mane, all these tonic mushrooms than the single-celled organisms we use, the bacteria and yeast, to ferment foods. So I said, what if we took a fungi culture, a multicellular fungi, and fermented foods with it? And what we got was a greater creation of metabolites and extracellular compounds. And what are some of those compounds? Well, most pharmaceuticals today, penicillin is a cellular byproduct of fermentation. Statin drugs, same thing. The list goes on and on. So we see that multicellular fungi create massive amounts of extracellular compounds, antioxidant enzymes like SOD, catalase, glutathione, polysaccharides such as beta-glucans, glycoproteins, the list goes on and on. Yeah. And those, as you mentioned earlier, are what are being studied throughout the world as beneficial compounds to the immune system. So just to recap, take a great herb, put it through one of our 3 processes. We call them the microbiome transformation system, because we're creating a microbial biomass, or the mycobiome transformation system, a mycological biomass. And you take an herb, put it through the process, combination of herbs, juices, etc., They come out fused with powerful components. But here's the most amazing thing. The fermentation process that we employ, which is just unbelievable, it really is simple to explain. Fermentation accentuates the positive and eliminates the negative. So let me take wheat, for example. I would not say that a frequent listener or viewer to your TV program would think that wheat is on the top of your list of foods you like, right?
Right.
Now we know that people have consumed wheat for thousands of years. Jesus was referred to as the bread of life, and some of us can't really reconcile that, right? I mean, bread's bad, Jesus is good. How does that work? If you put wheat through our fermentation process, you can reduce the gluten in the wheat by over 99% and infuse the wheat with beta-glucans, alpha-glucans, and immune-enhancing substances. Could you imagine trading in gluten for immune-enhancing substances? Now, we don't make wheat bread, unfortunately, for those of you who are thinking this is amazing. But imagine if you could apply that to every substance known to man. Imagine how daunting of a task you would have if you thought of doing this and then had the entire world's botanicals at your fingertips. This is what we started with that culminated in the creation of Get Real Nutrition. So Dr. Dan and Meredith, being able to take something and make it better and remove the bad stuff is pretty amazing. I often have said, gosh, if I could ferment other areas of my life, imagine fermenting your financial situation or your relationships, accentuating the positive and eliminating the negatives. And I'm trying to figure out a way to ferment my kids. I'm still working on that.
I'm going to use that. Hey, when you really got inspired by this because you became, from the guy who didn't want to get his hands dirty to being like so into compost. I mean, in compost, we see bad soil become not just good, but amazing. I mean, folks, listening, this process that really, God has established in nature is really what you're relying on to make these foods, better than good. I mean, incredible. So, what you're saying is look, it's not just about the bacteria, the probiotic, if you will. It's not just about the organism. It's about what this process does to the food to make it bioavailable for most people who have inflamed guts, inflamed cells, usable at the cellular level. I mean, that was, the thing that just struck me and got me very excited. And I'll tell you, Jordan, I have a lot of clients who are extremely, and so do our doctors, extremely sensitive. And so far, the clients that have been not able to take even a regular supplement that 99% of the population is able to take and feel better, they feel worse, has been able to take these products and actually feel better. I think it has a lot to do with the bioavailability through this process. So, I almost, you have, like I said, a process. It's how is this different than regular fermentation? I mean, you kind of answered that, but I just kind of want to put a magnifying glass on that because people are thinking we're talking about maybe just regular fermented food. So kind of focus on that a little bit.
Well, I eat fermented foods. Yesterday I drank about 8 ounces of raw kimchi juice. It lit me up, but it was really good. I consume kombucha at times. I consume raw pickles, you name it. I consume, obviously, fermented dairy, amasi, suero, you name that. What I don't get in my diet, and what you don't get in your diet who are watching and listening, is the fermented botanicals utilizing multicellular organisms. Yeah. I have not consumed fermented schizandra, and even if I did, it wouldn't have been fermented with reishi. I mean, who would ever thought of doing this? So, bottom line, we're giving people foods and herbs, botanicals, that they can't get in their regular diet, but that are very friendly to the body. I want you to understand there are different kingdoms we're talking about here. There's the plant kingdom, and we're part of the animal kingdom, and we act like it most of the time. Fungi are a different kingdom, sharing characteristics and genetic material with both plants and animals. Fungi are great decomposers and great translators. So what we're using is the fungi to translate the power in these botanicals to us. Turmeric is great. Curcumin is one good component. Ashwagandha is great. Withanolides are the active ingredient, but there's 62 metabolites in ashwagandha that we know of. We want all of them to be potentiated for us to consume. So the best way I can describe how this fermentation is different, it's more complex, and it does a greater job of transforming a food or an herb into something much better. It's that simple. Yeah. It looks different. It behaves differently. You can go to getrealnutrition.com and see pictures of before and after. I love before and afters, of course. This fermentation visibly is different than any fermentation I or you have ever seen. I didn't invent turmeric, nor was I the 1,000,000th person to say it was good. I was probably the 10,000,000th person. I didn't invent any of these botanicals. God created them. We're just making them more usable by the body, and the best part is we don't have to throw anything away. Dr. Dan, curcumin extract wastes 96.8% of turmeric. What if part of the 96.8% is actually good for you? What if science doesn't know it yet? So this is a zero-waste, completely transformative process that makes nutrition user-friendly, safe, and effective.
Yeah, and I think that this process has never been done before. I mean, in nature, who knows, right? But utilizing these super herbs that we already know have amazing qualities and taking it through this amazing fermentation process, we have, again, I don't even know what to call them, these plants, these things that you grind up and create something new. I remember when I was there, literally, I couldn't wait to get my hands on it, and I just had to eat some. And we have that picture that we showed at my seminar. I don't have it today. I should have thought about it. And there I am eating this stuff, and I actually liked it. And they're all kind of looking around, saying, "Well, he didn't die, so That
was our quality control testing.
So little did I know that I was the guinea pig for this whole thing, But actually, what was amazing is, of course, I kept eating it. I actually kind of liked it, right? And I'm different, folks. We know that. But that night, I woke up in this sweat. I mean, the next day I said, Jordan, I woke up in this absolute drenching sweat. I mean, I remember back when I was sick, every once in a while I'd wake up in these drenching sweats. It happened. And I'm not telling you folks to eat that. What we have now is much more better in controlled little powders and pills and capsules. But, it just shows you the power of what, that those foods did to me. Whether it was the microbe, or just the amazing qualities, obviously, that those herbs carried right into my cell, obviously had that effect.
Dr. Dan, here's an interesting point. So what you consumed was a combination of Ganoderma lucidum, which is a red reishi, turmeric, holy basil, ashwagandha, aloe vera juice, and then chia and kaniwa, which is an amazing seed from South America. I bet you have eaten one or all of those substances before, either in your diet or in supplementation, and you wouldn't get the same type of cleanse, but this is the combination of all of them are what really took that to the next level, and the fact that you consumed 6 bottles worth in one sitting, but otherwise, no big deal.
Leave it to me. Leave it to me. Well, I know Meredith has some great questions, but, just talk a little bit about the 10 promises that you have with this that, I think it's unique. As far as product goes, I don't know anyone else that can claim all 10. So just kind of, go through those very quickly.
Absolutely, and this is really important to understand because there's a lot of misconceptions regarding nutritional supplements. But number one, we are real food. So every product in Get Real Nutrition's lineup comes from ingredients that are foods, beverages, herbs, spices, etc. They're all real, nothing extracted, isolated, purified. Number two, they're all certified organic. Every product is organic, making Get Real Nutrition the only broad spectrum certified organic brand of supplements ever. There's never been an organic brand of supplements.
Even the capsule. Even the
capsule is fermented. If we use capsules, we also use powders.
Right.
Number three, non-GMO. Don't need to get into too many details. We're big believers in heirloom, open pollinated, freedom of seed protection, all that stuff. We hate GMOs. This is a completely non-GMO line, tested and verified. Then we get into some of the really good stuff. We're gluten-free. So all of our products are safe for people that are gluten sensitive. We are plant-based. I do eat an omnivorous diet, a conscious omnivore am I, but in this particular line, we're plant-based, and I feel like we can reach a broad audience that way. Then we are sprouted, so every ingredient that we have that's a seed in our formulations is germinated in our own facility and then fermented. This is also the only product line that has every single active ingredient going through a fermentation process. There's not a fermented ingredient in the product. The entire product is created as food and fermented. That is absolutely amazing. Number 8, we are free of the 8 common allergens. So we have a facility and a testing procedure that makes us free of dairy, wheat, soy, peanuts, tree nuts, eggs, fish, and shellfish. And those 8 foods or groups make up 90% of allergic reactions, which is mind-boggling. So we are free of the 8 common allergens. We are handcrafted. I don't know about you, but I love sort of handmade products. I always go to farmers markets or health food stores, and I want the product that is artisanal, that is local. We must make our product with real people and real hands for the process to work, and we're proud of that. We're proud of being an American-made, handmade product line. And lastly, we believe in regenerating the environment, so we don't use bottles. All of our products are packaged in compostable cartons and recyclable pouches, decreasing the carbon footprint dramatically, less shipping costs, less fossil fuels, and zero waste if you compost the outer carton and recycle the inner pouch. That's also a first of its kind, where our industry has good products in bottles, but those bottles oftentimes end up in landfills. That's millions of them. So we call this our 10 promises, and these are the pillars that Get Real Nutrition stands on, and that alone, in my mind, is enough of a reason for you to vote with your dollars and make Get Real Nutrition your foundational brand. It really is that differentiated and that special.
I want to talk a little bit about it. There's 16 different products and how to use those. But before I do, Meredith, you always have great questions.
Well, I'm just thinking of perhaps some first-time viewers, too, that aren't familiar with fermentation even. So I'm wondering, when you start, you choose the mushrooms. How do you pick which products go into which blend? And maybe if you could just kind of get into the nitty-gritty of the fermentation process a little bit more, too, so we can understand.
That's a great question, Meredith. And as I mentioned, we have 2 processes. One uses fungi or mycelia, myco. The other uses bacteria, particularly a bacillus, which makes our probiotics. Our fermentation process really undergoes 5 steps, and it's certainly worth seeing visually, but suffice it to say that the processes can take from 10 to 90 days. It is a slow process any way you look at it, and it really travels through our system as one food, one biomass. And when we do that, we take the appropriate culture and match it to the botanicals based on the system of the body we want to affect. And I know that sounds very ambiguous, but we ran over 1,000 tests to determine which cultures matched with which foods and which combinations would support the immune system, which combinations would support the brain, which combinations would support cleansing, liver health, cardiovascular health, and which combinations would support metabolism, fitness, blood sugar, and wellness. And that's really how we constructed it. And what you should understand, certain botanicals are great for all 4 of those conditions or
of course,
area strategic solutions, call them, and some fungi or bacteria are good. So we tried to create products that individuals could quickly identify as their area of need, or their practitioners could say, here's a good starting point for you. So we do really have 4 products that each have 4 strategic solutions. So if you're listening and you say 16 products, our goal is to see each person who's listening or viewing begin a journey that will culminate in 4 foundational products, and will help you understand which to choose based on the categories of immune system support, cleansing, brain health, or fitness. And certainly there's some related areas that go with that.
Yeah, so when you say there's really, okay, let's look at it as 4 products. We have your probiotic line.
Yes, real probiotic.
Yeah, okay, then we have the omega line.
Real omega.
Right, then we have the metabolite line. Then we have the super juice line, which I love those. I eat them right from the little scooper. I like chew on them, and I absolutely I actually crave it. I'm not kidding. As we've been talking, I almost wanted to like break and run downstairs and show people how I do it, and I still might do that because I actually like it. And anyway, so
you know what, Dr. Dan, it's pretty interesting. People should hear this. So right now I'm using all the products, but I take turns. So I just got the multi-metabolite fit, and I'm a big cinnamon fan. Cinnamon is amazing. It's great for blood sugar. It's great for
I love it too.
creating an environment in the gut. And when cinnamon goes through the fermentation process, it tastes a little bit differently, but it still has that bam. So we've got cinnamon and ashwagandha, aloe vera juice, and we've got Cordyceps sinensis, which is an amazing fungi. So I took a tablespoon of it in 16 ounces of water this morning, and I want it again now as well. And I'm telling you, Dr. Dan, people don't believe us when we say that when you expose yourself to amazing compounds and nutrients, your body craves it. This is what that's about. But you're right. We have real probiotic, real omega, multi-metabolite, and fermented super juice. Multi-metabolite and fermented super juice are powders that you can mix in smoothies, water, eat it out of the bag, like Dr. Dan said. You can bake with them if you want to do so. Put them in your cereal. We give you lots of instructions on our site on how to use them. Real probiotic and real omega are capsules, and each of these 4 product categories make up a new innovation in nutrition. But it's great to expose yourself to one. We certainly would love you to consume all 4.
Yeah, I mean, I think that that's the question I've gotten most often from this directly to the public. I mean, y'all can buy these right off our website. Meredith can tell you how to do that, but it's not straight to the physician. I mean, this is straight to the public. So I get the question, how do I use this? You have these 4 categories, but then you have the categories within that, like you said. I mean, you have the cleanse line, a fit, so kind of walk us through. My listeners say, yeah, I want to try this. Where do I start? I want to try some of these products because there's 16 different products you're going to see when you go to my website. Where do I start, Jordan?
Well, I often will say, and this has been my life story when it comes to nutrition, start with a probiotic, the gut first. So I recommend you choose a real probiotic that's appropriate for you. And we'll get to that in a moment. Then, if you want, and that's a capsule. You can take it with meals or without meals, 3 recommended a day. This is the first certified organic probiotic supplement in capsules ever available. Sprouted, fermented, amazing, dairy-free, soy-free, utilizing Bacillus subtilis. Another study came out today showing that Bacillus subtilis supports immune system function in addition to the gut. So start with real probiotic. I don't think a single person, Dr. Dan, that you or I know can't benefit from a little bit of gut fortification, if you know what I mean. Certainly you and I have definitely benefited. Next, multi-metabolite. You might be saying, well, I'm all about multis, but what's a multi-metabolite? I believe the oldest and newest frontier of nutrition lies in the plant compounds known as metabolites. I don't take a multivitamin. I take a multi-metabolite. Because that's what I can't get. I can get vitamins and minerals in my diet. Even if my diet was poor, everything's fortified these days. You're getting some vitamin C, you're getting some crummy vitamin D, you're getting some B3, and not in the best form, but you're getting vitamins. You can't eat and not get vitamins. But what you're missing is the powerful compounds found in plants. Multi-metabolite gives you protection that's 5,000 years in the making. Every herbalist, traditional Chinese practitioner, Ayurvedic practitioner care about vitamins. They want you to consume botanicals to bring you into balance, and the botanical metabolites are what get you there. So multi-metabolite's a powder. It comes in the 4 strategic solutions: immune, cleanse, fit, and brain. You mix it in your smoothie, you mix it in your veggie juice, you mix it in your suero, your amasi. Great in smoothies. And every day you're getting between 28 and 45 fermented botanicals that you aren't consuming today. I mean, that's a great wave of protection. So that's kind of our second product if you're going to take 2. 3, fermented super juice. It's exactly what it sounds like. 33 organic vegetable and fruit juices fermented with a powerful culture. I drink juice, but I never drink collard juice, kale juice, pomegranate juice, Concord grape juice, blueberry juice, blackberry. I never get it all. Ginger, onion, it's amazing. That's a powder that you can also add to a smoothie or a juice, and it comes in immune, cleanse, brain, and fit. And lastly, Real Omega. This is the first plant-based organic omega-3 capsule. It's not a high-potency fish oil. It's not flax or chia that you put on your salad. It's a targeted omega with multiple cofactors utilizing all sprouted and fermented seeds, and it is also a capsule. So that's the 4-product system within the categories, and then you can choose immune, cleanse, brain, or fit. I know some of you are thinking, I want to boost my brain and I want to get fit. Trust me when I tell you, every probiotic is going to support your gut. If you want more immune support, we give you targeted botanicals for that. And this time of year, probably a good idea, right? If you want to cleanse in a few months, you can switch to the cleanse formula. The base is always going to be there for Real Probiotic for the gut, multi-metabolite cellular protection, fermented super juice, getting all your juices, and Real Omega is going to help your heart like an omega will. But you decide, or your practitioner can decide, if you want to focus on immune support, brain support, cleansing, or fitness. And if you're perfectly healthy, which most people aren't, but if you're pretty healthy, you're an athlete, you want to build muscle, maybe lose a little fat, balance your blood sugar, fit is great for you. If you're over 50, no offense, Dr. Dan, I turned 40, you turned 50. You know, look, you can still beat me in many athletic events, so I'm not even going to go there. But anyone who's listening who's really over 40, the brain formulas will be great for you if you can't decide otherwise. The number one concern we have as we age, according to research, is not our physical body breaking down, it's our brain. And
Right.
I've had relatives with dementia using Hericium erinaceus, or lion's mane, which is a powerful fungi. Research it. It's amazing.
Yeah.
All of these formulas are powerful. Cleanse is great for liver. It's great for your heart. And this is not a short-term cleanse. You can do this for a long time.
Yeah,
And then,
because
as I mentioned,
we have a lot of people. We have a lot of people, you know, doing detox, and it supports all of those detox pathways. And you know, the livers. When you look what's in it, you'll say, "Oh my goodness, yeah." I mean, it supports the kidneys, the liver, the gut. You know, so yeah, I love it.
absolutely. And I think what it's important for people that say, oh, I want to help all of these things. I want brain, I want cleanse, I want fitness, I want to boost my immune system. You can go ahead, try one of each of the 4 products, Real Probiotic, multi-metabolite, fermented super juice, and Real Omega, and mix and match. Maybe it's Real Probiotic immune. Maybe it's multi-metabolite fit. Maybe it's fermented super juice cleanse and Real Omega brain. We call that sort of the everyday wellness program. Pick and choose, get a little bit of everything, but here's what I can tell you. If you get real nutrition into your life, no matter how stringent or hardcore your health plan is, you will start to feel inner wellness really well up inside your body. You're really going to feel it because you may have never had a supplement that's all food, and you've definitely never had powerful botanicals fermented with multicellular mushrooms. That's the secret sauce, if you will. And getting it in your body, you'll begin to crave it. Not because it's sweet, not because it's salty, not because it's full of fat, because it's real and your body thrives on real nutrients.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so I mean, there's where you start, folks. I mean, I think that's great advice, Jordan. I think you answered that question. Meredith, did we get any other questions in, even from our doctors? I know they always want to ask certain questions.
Didn't get any from there, but I'm just kind of wondering, too, with some of the other supplements, would there be any contraindications with medicines or other supplements? Can we just kind of take these freely?
This is a great question, Meredith. I'm going to add to that. So here's the inevitable. If I'm pregnant or nursing, can I take these? Folks, these are real foods, but as with any dietary supplement, if you're pregnant or nursing, talk to your healthcare practitioner. Can kids take the products? Because of regulations, they're formulated for adults. I typically look at an adult more by size. I give my kids these products. However, they are formulated for adults for their needs, so take it for what it's worth. And then as far as contraindications, we believe these products are safe. They're free of the top allergenic foods. We believe that because they're fermented, they're more absorbable, but everyone is sensitive to something, it seems. I can't even get everyone to drink water without having a reaction. So look at the ingredients. If you're concerned, start small with just a little bit, but I do believe even sensitive individuals can thrive on these products. And if you're taking other supplements, because we don't have isolated vitamins and minerals, there's not going to be too much selenium or vitamin A. This can go right along with your current supplement regimen, or it can start a new supplement regimen. And if you're taking medication, I would certainly separate the medication by usage by about an hour from taking these Get Real Nutrition products.
Mm-hmm.
My battery on my computer is dying faster than normal, so I hope I don't lose us here. I have 5% left and my cord's all back there. So I just saw it. I'm like, why is this thing dropping like crazy? So we got to make sure that we finish right on time here for Dr. Pompa's computer.
Develop a computer, like a computer Get Real Nutrition infusion, you know, to give your computer some multi-lights.
If my computer just shuts down, Jordan, I love you, and I love that God uses you to create these products. And Meredith will finish the show. But yeah, so no, it's remarkable. And, you know, I think my concern is that people have to understand just, you know, what this process is. I feel blessed because I saw it. I mean, I saw these things growing that have never grown before and pulling out and extracting, you know, like you said. I mean, we pull out curcumin and the turmeric plant. It's like, what about all this? We haven't even discovered what these things are yet. Well, these products contain that and more, and it's through this, you know, special fermentation process. Or, you know, I guarantee you these products contain things that I probably haven't eaten or been exposed to in a good way my whole life, perhaps, because, you know, our food supply, Jordan, is just so different. I mean, when we used to consume plants in nature and live on farms in the soil, we probably got some different. And you know, I just feel like that this marriage of the, you know, us and plants has been disrupted, and that is a big problem. So now look, we lost Jordan, or is that my computer?
Oh, uh-oh. Looks like we did lose him.
Oh boy, my computer is actually doing well.
His is dying and his is gone now. So, oh man, wow. Well,
yeah, well, I'm sure, you know, Jordan will in fact you know, call back in, and but you know, like, you know, Meredith, I said, you know, my biggest fear is like I said, you know, people really just don't understand, you know, how amazing these products are, because when you look and read the ingredients, I mean, you can see all these amazing different herbs in here, and you know, I think on this page,
yeah, it's amazing.
Right here, you can kind of see that he pulls out some of the herbs that most people are familiar with. But if you look at the ingredients, remember all these herbs in each of these products have gone through this fermentation unique process. And I'm telling you, Meredith, I don't know if you remember, if you saw the pictures of me with these plants. You know, I mean, these things grow. I'm calling them plants. I don't know what to call them, but I mean, they grew up like, it almost looked like
biomasses. Those were our experiments that we left for 6 months in a place we forgot about.
Yeah, right.
And what's amazing is we grew these cultures on grape pomace from a local winery. We grew them on ginkgo. We grew them on turmeric. We grew them on elderberry, garlic, and each of these fungi took on different shapes. But when you would see multiple versions, it would be absolutely amazing. They would look like family members if they grew on the same substrate. So the fungi are taking these botanical compounds and making them more absorbable. It's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it is. And like I said, I was just amazed at the process. And Jordan, I was just showing, you know, just some of the literature that you have and how you pulled out some of the herbs in each product. So that's another thing you can do, folks, is you can look and, oh, turmeric, I take turmeric. Well, you want a better turmeric? Or, you can say, okay, well, here, in milk thistle or, aloe vera. So you can see what products those different herbs are in. And, of course, it's the synergy that herbs work best in. So, it's never as powerful as just taking one thing like turmeric, but it's when you take it with a synergy of other herbs that affect your brain, for example, is really where you get more power. And then, of course, the fermentation on top of that. So, that's another way that you can look at what products you want to take just by looking what's in them is a great thing. So, yeah, no, Jordan, we're out of time here, and my battery might die anyway. But any last words? Something we missed? Something that you've got to tell them?
I'm just really excited that I'm a part of what you're doing, and I hope that Get Real Nutrition will make an impact on your health, your clients' health, your doctors and their patients, and anyone who's listening. Just check out the website, look a little bit into these products, and if you begin a Get Real Nutrition regimen, you will feel the difference. We like to say you can get real with nutrition you can feel. So that's what it's about. So many times we take products and we do it for insurance purposes. Take this product to supercharge your life, and I think you'll feel the results that organic, real foods can make.
GetRealNutrition.com. GetRealNutrition.com for more information, and you can buy them on our website, drpompa.com. Meredith, do they have to put anything? They just put with the product name. What's the best way to find them?
Yeah, so you can just go to revelationhealth.com, and in the search bar, just type in Get Real. All 16 products should pop up, so you can see them all. You can get the information on Jordan's website, and then get them on revelationhealth.com. So we're so excited to offer them and to continue to learn more, because they just seem so special, and there would just be no way that we could get all of this nutrition from going out and trying to get it in our diet. It's just really amazing new products. So we're so excited to have them in our store. And thank you so much, Jordan, for this information. It's just really, really very exciting.
Thank you for having me. Look forward to being back. We'll talk about To Hell with Cancer another time.
Absolutely. We love you, Jordan. We'll talk soon.
God bless.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone, for watching, and have a wonderful weekend. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.